just going to trial out a little Facebook Live video here. I'm just wondering how this will go with my existing webcam and whether the sound is going to work properly. So I'm just really trialing this out here, and I thought to do that I'll make a little one layer card. So I've got some inks here, sort of Mont, Mer du Sud and Cerise, and I'll also be using some VersaFine, a white base card, flower stamp. It's Funky Flowers by oh god, my brain is going, by Crafty Roo. And then I'm going to use a sentiment from this set by Stamplerations. And I got my stamping tool here, and what I'll be using is some little brushes to colour my image in. There are some eyeshadow makeup brushes, and then potentially do a bit of stenciling. So this is just a very quick little card. So I got my one layer here, my base card. So I pop that in here, and what I tend to do then is I've opened my stamping tool out, so I get my stamp and just try and place where I want them. So it's probably not going to go in the corner here, so I can secure the base card a bit better. And I'm just going to make that, I think, turn it into a thank you card probably. Let me just get that one out. And there is, oh god, where is that gone now? I thought it was at the bottom. It probably isn't. Just bear with me a moment. I'm just getting the stamp out. So heartfelt thanks, I think, looks rather nice with it. So I'll place that here, and I think it's about roughly okay where it is in relation to the flower. I might just slightly adjust the way the flower sits on this. I think this will be about right. And I know there's stamps from a couple of different companies that I'm going to combine here, so normally it would be best to stamp them differently, because the thickness of the stamps can vary a bit depending on manufacturer, but I'm just going to go ahead with it anyway because I got the stamping tools. If the impression doesn't get that good first time round on any of them, I can always go over it again. So this is also quite good potentially for batch making if you want to do a few. So let's just pick up the stamps and then get myself some black VersaFine ink to ink them up. I do like one layer cards. They're just I like making them yeah, they're not heavy, they can be sent quite easily abroad, and sometimes I don't want something that is too fussy. I do like a bit of simplicity, so always wrap quite well over my stamps, my stamping tool, to try and get the best impression I possibly can. So this hasn't quite worked, but then you can just flip it back over and try again. It's probably because the stamps are a bit of a different thickness. So what I'll do is I'll take the heartfelt thanks off and ink the flower up again and try it with that on its own. And now I've just discovered there is a little bit of fluff from when I used it last. So I'm just going to try and get that off because it's sometimes you probably can see it a little bit here. There's just a little line, and I don't like it, but it does happen when you clean your stamps with baby wipes like I do. So just need to be careful at times to clean them properly and try and get rid of the bits afterwards. Right, there you go, that's done now. So I'll just quickly wipe this all off. So I'm just trialing this out because I've had the webcam for a while, but I've actually never used it with my Chromebook. So I just want to see how this is working, what the sound quality is like, and whether it's really worth it doing more Facebook Lives potentially during this lockout feature, or just generally for fun. So I'm going to put my stamping tool to one side. I've got the card here. What I now do is I'm just going to get out the brushes, and I'll just do the green, and I'll do the pink. It is actually a combination that I rather like. I do like combining green and pink. They're both sort of hard colours. So let's just see where we go with this. Let's start with the pink. So these inks are actually quite nice. They're a bit like the ink pads are quite wet, and they're quite easy to pick up with a brush. So I do that, and then I always dab the brush a little bit on my craft mat, and then I start where I want the colour to be darkest and just brush up from there, pick up a bit more colour. And it's almost like with a little bit of a brush you can even do like little sort of circles to get it in. I mean, this card is a little bit textured, so it's not the best for blending, but I sort of rather like the slight texture, and almost like, I don't want to call it blotchy, but it gives sort of a bit of more like an organic look to it that I quite like. So that's one. Let's do the other one. And again, I'm just dipping this off here. And you don't have to have any pressure at all. It's just literally just lightly brushing and getting the ink into the texture of the card, really. So, can you see this? And last but not least, So I'm sorry, I'm normally not talking a lot. I like crafting on my own, so I don't know if any of my friends are listening in here. So that's just the flowers coloured. Put the cerise, the pink, to one side and wipe this off before I dip my card into it. And just get a tissue to dry it off. Let me just get some sort of scrunched up tissue here. And I'm going to get the green out now, the mauve. And you can get really nice shading with just one colour, and I just love this. It's so easy, and yet it's quite characterful. I'm not the best colouring, so this is really good. I rather like it because it has its own unique charm, and you don't have to be very good really with your shading. It's I don't know, it's just something that suits me rather than being too detailed or something. I'm not even quite sure where I'm going here. I'm just rambling, sorry about that. So I'm not doing the dabbing off at the moment with the green because the ink pad itself is already drier than the pink. The pink one is still quite wet. So I don't need to do that as much, but I would advise it if you don't know, to start just with the dabbing off whenever you use this. These little makeup brushes I picked them up in Primark actually 2 months ago or something like that, and I've been using them ever since, and I rather really like it. They're also quite good to use with stencils because you can it's easier to multicolour than than having a big scrap this, I'm rambling. It's easier to do shading in stencils as compared to using bigger blending tools. I mean, you might have noticed that I do sort of, even with the green, I sort of start on one end where I want the darker colour and then just sort of brush it across into the lighter coloured end a bit more. So I get a bit of shading in. So I'm just trying to hold it up a bit more. Can you see this? It's a bit blurry. Yeah, I used to be able to adjust the camera a bit more, but that feature is gone on the Chromebook, so I'm afraid it's got to be slightly I can't do the close-ups with focusing the camera in anymore. I don't know, in the fullness of time maybe I'll get another camera, but it's not that important right now, to be honest. There are other things that are more important in life than having a perfect camera, to be honest. I shall be going out in the garden later, tend to my veggies and listen to the bird song. So yeah, as you can see with the big ones here, it's a little bit more challenging to use the little brush, but you can still do it. It just takes a little bit longer. Let me just get the sides in. You can actually go quite close to the line, the stamped outline as well with these little brushes. They're really good. I absolutely love them. And sometimes you might just want to sort of turn the image around to make it easier to follow a line or something. So can you see what I've done with the leaf here? Yeah, that's another thing I need to work at, the light. If I do another Facebook Live again, could just be that I might have to draw the curtain a little bit more. Let's do it like that. Yeah, I tend to adjust the way my card lies on my surface quite a bit, because it I find it easier to just brush from right to left, so that's what I tend to work with. And it's also sort of for the light quite good, because then I've got the light coming in to see where the lines are. Otherwise I'm making myself too much shadow, which isn't good. Right, so that's the greens done. I think I'll add a little bit here. Yeah, I think the image is a little bit jumpy, so I don't know what the sound quality will be like either. I'll have to check that video later. So that's this. You got like a little nice sweet flower there. And I think I might get a stencil here. Do I want the dashes or do I want the little crosses? Let's just see. I think I'll do some crosses, and I'll do them in the blue. So I'm just getting another brush out here. Do I want to do the crosses or do I want to just do some dashes? Ooh, I think I'll do the dashes actually. Sorry, changed my mind. So now the blue is quite wet again, so I'm just going to dab that down here again, so you probably can see that even though it's a bit dark. And what I like about this, it sort of adds a different shading to the background, because you actually quite easily can just sort of shade the individual dashes, and you don't have to do all of them. You can leave some out, which just adds some quite nice interest as well. And you could use different colors if you wanted to and make it a multicolored background just for a big sentiment or something. Or just, if you look here, I'm not going entirely up, so I'm just doing part of the dash here. Just going to go over the sentiment. This is actually rather easy to work your way around an image with these little brushes. Normally for something like this you would have to do some masking, because otherwise the danger would be too great to mess up your coloured image. Going to pop a bit in here, so you might not be able to see this because it's literally almost like the same color as the stencil here, but I'm just putting a few little sort of highlights in. Around, if I just try and lift this up. So there you go, that's it, and that's the finished card. So there you go, that's my finished card, and I shall post that on my Facebook page and Instagram, and just see how it goes. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall end the video and save it, and we just see where we go from here.